Welcome back to MBU Reacts. Today we are checking out, what are we checking out? The 90s mornings cartoons, after school cartoons, and after school cartoons.
The best 90s cartoons.
And
Saturday
after school
morning,
cartoons.
yeah.
Cyber Chase, we're moving. We're beating Hacker at his game. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Cyber Chase?
From PBS, RIP to PBS.
RIP. Was holding us down when you didn't have cable.
Facts.
When you didn't have cable, you get the antennas moving. Kids look at you crazy when you talk about that. You had to move the antennas right, you put them in the right spot, you straight. It's like back in the day when we used to watch HBO. Didn't have HBO, you could make out a little scene here and there.
Shit, don't let us have a little pay-per-view channels. This shit, you move it right, you might be able to finish watching wrestling. It might be gray, black or white, but
you definitely can hear it though.
If you move it correctly, you get a little bit of the screen clear. Nigga, you done watch WrestleMania 2000 and some more shit.
You definitely can hear it. So
yeah, for sure you can hear it.
That's the craziest part. The audio's clear as day. I'm like, I'll sit here and listen. And just imagine. I was like, damn, I'll never forget that because that's when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker in that Hell in a Cell. F5'd him like 3 times. But hey, that's not what we're here for. We're here to check out the 90s cartoons, beef Saturday morning and after school. Anyway, this is Tree. I'm Green. This is MB Reaction. Let's see what this channel's talking about. See what this video's talking about. Aliens.
What's up, my comic comrades? So about 4 months ago, we did an episode on the greatest 80s Saturday morning and after school cartoons. And while the 80s is considered by many to be the golden era for Saturday mornings and after school cartoons, giving us classics like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, He-Man, Thundercats, The Real Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, and so many more, I think there's a case to be made that the 90s era of cartoons was just as good, if not better. So put your Trapper Keeper away, press save on your Game Boy Color, clean up your Pogs, and grab some Dunkaroos and Surge, because we're going to take a stroll through the 90s, specifically to talk about the greatest 90s Saturday morning cartoons. Now, with that said, there are way too many cartoons that came out in the 90s to mention them all. So we're going to stick to our absolute favorites, which is still going to be a pretty good chunk. We're also going to do this by year, starting with 1990. So first up, we have Bobby's World. This cartoon is one of the earliest memories I have of a cartoon series, and I still think one of the best cartoons that come out of the 90s. The series was created by Howie Mandel, even appeared in live action at the beginning of every episode, and also voiced Bobby and played Bobby's dad. The opening is ingrained in my head with Bobby riding his trike into his imagination with that 90s synth. The show was a great fun kids cartoon that follows the adventures of Bobby Generick, with us seeing the world through his eyes as a little boy with a big imagination. Moving along, since we're not spending too much time on each since there's a bunch to get through, we have Captain Planet and the Planeteers. This is the first superhero cartoon I ever watched in the 90s, as it kicked off the 90s. I was obsessed with Captain Planet. I had his action figure and I watched every single episode. I know I'm not the only one.
What happens? I swear they was talking about giving us a remake of Captain Planet.
Remake, a live action.
And then a live action.
I don't know, maybe it fell through.
Shit, I'll take a remake. You ain't got to give me a live action. Not every live action be hidden anyway.
Yeah.
Only one who remembers the classic line, "Let our powers combine. Earth, fire, wind, water, heart. With your powers combined, I am Captain Planet." I wanted one of those magic rings the kids in the show had so bad. The rings were created by Gaia, the spirit of Earth, and gifted them to 5 kids from all over the world, giving them the power of an element, and with their powers combined, they can create Captain Planet. It was a great show that had some educational value in the sense that it dealt with treating Earth kindly, not polluting it or hurting nature, the environment, or wildlife. As Captain Planet would say, he finds pollution solutions. So damn cheesy, but I ate it up as a kid. It was an environmentalist show through and through. And like many 90s cartoon intro themes, it was a bop. Come on now, Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to 0. Speaking of the awesomeness of the classics, let's talk about today's sponsor, Blockies, and their awesome Transformers figures. Transformers launched a toy line, then became a hit 80s cartoon series that turned the robots in disguise into one of the biggest franchises in pop culture. And for good reason. Who doesn't love the Autobots and Decepticons? And these Blockies Transformers figures hit the target on both the classic and modern designs, including their Transformers.
When it comes to Transformers and when it comes to Power Rangers, I used to be grateful that I got a gift, but I would hate if it didn't transform. Like if it was a sword that didn't transform, I'd be pissed. I did used to be pissed if I got transformed sword that did transform. Like, I want the trans one that transform. I was grateful for the gift, but you a key. Like, damn. Nigga, I want the one that transform.
I want the one that transform.
It's to get the stale one that move, but it don't transform.
And don't give me no knockoff one. I'm over pissed. Especially the knockoff Transformers that used to be like Dollar General and Dollar Tree and shit. And Family Dollar, don't come with that. I'ma play with it, but I'm gonna be mad.
Transformers one lineup. In fact, they sent us a package with several of their figures, and they're dope. A couple of things we love about Blockies is that they're easy to build kits with no tools needed, which gives you the fun of model building, but without it being too tedious. And the other cool thing is that they have randomized boxes where you don't know whether you're going to get a hero or a villain, which is always fun. These authentic Transformers Legacy figures are 100% official Hasbro licensed, ensuring that they're top quality. They're also highly posable, which is a must for kids and collectors alike, and they're made of ABS environmentally friendly plastic. Blockies is actually doing a giveaway right now where you can score some of these awesome Transformer figures for yourself. And if you want to jump in on the giveaway, it's super easy. Just click the link we dropped in the description below to enter. But this giveaway is only for a limited time, so click the link in the description below. I hope you win big. Next on our 90s cartoon list, we have Tiny Toon Adventures. This show was done by Warner Brothers and Amblin Entertainment with Steven Spielberg executive producing. The concept of the show was introducing the next generation of Looney Tunes, the successors of Bugs, Daffy, and more. We follow characters like Buster Bunny, Babs Bunny, Plucky Duck, Hampton J. Pig, and more, who attend Acme Looniversity to learn to become funny and carry on the legacy of the classic Looney Tune characters. The show kicked off the smart humor in the 90s for Warner Brothers, allowing kids and adults alike to enjoy the show. I loved the Looney Tunes growing up, and the Tiny Toons were some of my favorites. One of the best parts of the show was all the pop culture references and cameos. Anything Warner Brothers or Steven Spielberg was a part of during his career was on board. So we got cameos from Indiana Jones, Batman, Steven Spielberg himself, and more. The show is just all around great and still holds up to this day. Its vibe, tone, and humor is one of the greatest examples of what made 90s cartoons great. On a personal note, I remember having a plush Buster Bunny and several of the McDonald's Happy Meal toys. Those toys were great. But jumping to 1991, we have the Back to the Future animated series. This series was very short-lived, only getting 2 seasons, but it was my jam. The Back to the
This shit came out in 91. I wasn't born yet.
I know, but they still.
I was born in 91, but I know they said, but I don't remember this one.
I do. I just didn't watch it. I don't know why. I just didn't. I remember seeing it, and I was like, yeah. But there was other stuff on at the time besides, there was other channels you could watch.
The Future franchise is one of my favorite movie franchises of all time, so naturally as a kid, I was all about the animated series. Another reason I have such fond memories of this show is because I had all 4 of the McDonald's Happy Meal toys from it. The Doc and the DeLorean was one of my favorite toys, full stop, for a long time. You're going to quickly find out a lot of my favorite 90s cartoons also have ties to Happy Meal toys. Because back then, McDonald's was goated with their toys, making dope Happy Meal toys from some of the biggest kid shows at the time. I would ask my parents to take me to McDonald's just to get specific toys from Happy Meals. But that cheeseburger and fries, it hit different back then. Anyway, I digress. As for the show itself, it was a direct sequel to the film trilogy, even co-created by Rob Zemeckis and Bob Gale, who did the 3 films. The series even opened and closed with live action segments of Christopher Lloyd returning as Doc Brown. He would introduce the story of each episode and cap every episode with its moral. It's a perfect show of the 90s and stayed loyal to the films. Every episode followed Doc's family and Marty on various time-traveling adventures. They would visit different historical points, both in the future and past. And of course, the DeLorean and Doc's new inventions played major roles in every episode's story. The series focused on educational themes using history and science as part of the storytelling. It's a brilliant show based on one of the most successful movie franchises of all time and highly underrated. But continuing on, we have the terror that flaps in the night, the flea you cannot flick, the surprise in your cereal box, Darkwing Duck. I think we can all agree Darkwing Duck is amazing. It's one of the most quotable cartoons from the 90s. For instance, I am the moth that seeks your porch light. Let's get dangerous. It's so good. It aired on Disney Afternoon and Saturday mornings on ABC. If you were a kid that likes superheroes, like me, Darkwing was an obvious favorite. Its theme song alone is iconic. DW, as we call him, was voiced by none other than voice acting royalty Jim Cummings. As for the show itself, it was a hilarious fun take on the vigilante superhero archetype, blending the noir detective elements of characters like the Shadow with the flair and gadgets of Batman, then mixing in some some slapstick humor and giving him a great sidekick like Launchpad from DuckTales. He even had hilarious villains like Megavolt, Bushroot, Quarterjack, and Negaduck. Disney basically nailed everything on their 90s Disney Afternoon and Saturday morning lineup in true classic Disney fashion. But there was another kid network making big swings in the early 90s, and that of course is Nickelodeon. Obviously, we recently found out that behind the scenes at Nickelodeon things weren't so good to say the least, but let's stick to what we knew as kids for the sake of reminiscing. Two of their all-time greats are Doug and Rugrats, but let's start with Doug. Doug was a simple, straightforward cartoon that became a huge hit because of its relatable slice of life storytelling. What made Doug so great was the fact that he was just an awkward, normal 11-year-old boy. He had a dog named Porkchop, a best friend named Skeeter Valentine, had a crush on Patty Mayonnaise, even a bully named Roger Klotz. Doug Funny wasn't super popular, but also wasn't a complete outcast. He was just kind of there like most of us were. And it was great seeing him work through everyday problems like all of us. He was also a comic nerd like us, giving himself the alter ego of Quail Man that he would often use to work through his problems. Doug is just a relatable, fun character, especially if you were a kid around his age watching it. Also, Skeeter was the man.
I would have been blue. Bought her ticket. She bought her own shit after that.
I need my ticket back.
Can I get my money back, bro?
My money back.
She just bought her ticket, and I was trying to be nice and buy her shit.
That blew me.
That nigga took too long to tell her he liked her, but I get it. He was 11.
He was like college or something by the time he told her.
He was 11 when he. So I get it, but still, nigga, just tell her.
Y'all look like high schoolers.
He did look big as hell.
Especially Claude, or what a Claude.
Roger ass was a greaser and a bully nigga.
Ugh.
all had a Patty at our school, a pretty girl we wished was our girlfriend. The crazy thing is Disney would do what Disney does and later acquire Doug, giving it a full feature film release, which I loved and saw in theaters. They even continued the series on the Disney Channel. Next up, we have more Nickelodeon royalty, and that of course is Rugrats. For a lot of people, this is the end-all be-all cartoon of the 90s, and you really can't blame them. All the cartoons I've mentioned thus far were really popular, but I feel Rugrats a little more so. I mean, Rugrats got 3 theatrical released films: the Rugrats movie in '98, Rugrats in Paris the movie in 2000, and Rugrats Go Wild in 2003. It's the only 90s cartoon that got a theatrical film trilogy. That should tell you everything you need to know. I don't have to break down Rugrats for you. We all should be familiar with the Rugrats, whether you're a 90s kid or not, because that's how beloved this series was and is. The concept of the show was so simple. Just follows a group of babies, Tommy, Chucky, Phil, and Lil, their older bully Angelica, and also the counter to Angelica, Susie, who is protective of the babies, along with Tommy's dog Spike, and eventually his younger brother Dill and Chucky's stepsister Kimmy. The great thing about Rugrats is we get to see the world through the eyes of how a baby might see it, like going to the grocery store, going to the park, everyday things, seeing what they may be thinking and how they may perceive things is absolutely brilliant. The show is easily top 10 favorite 90s cartoons for me personally and still holds up, so much so my 7-year-old and 4-year-old started watching it on Netflix and they love it. Next, we have my favorite animated series ever, not just from the 90s. Of course, I'm talking about 1992's Batman the Animated Series. If you know anything about me, you know I can go on and on with my love for this series and how it changed primetime animated storytelling in a massive way. One of the main things Batman the Animated Series is known for, and what put it on the map, so to speak, is its storytelling. How it didn't talk down to children, but instead found clever ways to explore mature themes that were still suitable for a younger audience. Giving us iconic episodes like Heart of Ice, which is a super mature, complex story of how Victor Von Freeze would do anything to get his wife back. This take on Mr. Freeze became so iconic, DC decided to make Mr. Freeze's animated origin his main continuity origin in the comic books as well, which still stands to this day. Or how about the complexity and tragedy of Harvey Dent's story in Two-Face Part 1 and 2. The series was constantly giving us peak storytelling, which was borderline unheard of in an afternoon or Saturday morning cartoon series at the time. Not to mention, there's almost countless elements of the series that ended up being mainstays in the main DC Batman continuity because of how good it was. Usually movies and TV pull from comics as it's the source material, but in this case, the comics were pulling from the show. That's how great it was. Then you add the stunning noir retro modern animation mixed with an amazing voice cast consisting of the likes of Kevin Conroy, who became known as the definitive voice of Batman, and Mark Hamill, who would become the definitive voice of the Joker. Of course, we also have the iconic opening theme song done by Shirley Walker. That was a twist on Danny Elfman's iconic Tim Burton Batman theme. Again, that could go on and on, but for me, this is easily the #1 cartoon series of all time, not just the 90s. 90s. So with that praise out of the way, let's move on. Staying in the comic book animated series camp, 1992 would also give us another staple to 90s kids everywhere, and that, of course, is the utterly amazing, or should I say, astonishing X-Men the animated series. For the newer generation, this is what Disney Plus's X-Men 97 was based off. This series ran so X-Men 97 could also run. I know that's not how the saying goes, but I changed it because X-Men the animated series also ran. It did not walk. And X-Men 97 is just as good as its predecessor, although the OG X-Men the animated series...
Nigga, it was 2 Jean Greys, nigga. And she mad, like, nigga, I didn't know, I thought it was you.
I got feelings for you. This one too, I can't even front, because I was with, it's you, it thinks it's you. She thought she was you until you came back.
And I thought that was you.
We've been getting...
You didn't know?
We had a baby.
You didn't know it wasn't me?
No.
No, nigga. Every bit of that person felt and seemed like you, nigga.
Felt like you.
That's what it felt and seemed like you.
And we got a baby. Had a baby together. We got a connection. You can't even be mad at that.
Facts.
If it was the reverse, I'd be a little bit upset, but I ain't finna take it out on you. I'm just mad that Buddy did this, and this is what's going on now.
Nah, I gotta take out Mr. Sinister, nigga.
Forever.
I got forever beef with this nigga.
I finally got a mortal enemy that I'll do anything to kill.
From the 90s still has that extra special place in us 90s kids' hearts because this is what started it all. What made X-Men 97 possible. What made the series special is kind of what made Batman the animated series so special. It didn't talk down to its audience. It explored mature themes like acceptance and prejudice. It also adapted some of X-Men's most iconic comic book storylines like the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix saga, Days of Future Past, The Age of Apocalypse, and a ton more. For a lot of people, this is the series that made them like X-Men in the first place. You'd watch this on weekday afternoons or Saturday mornings on Fox Kids and then be like, I need more of this. So you take your butt to the comic book shop and buy some X-Men comics. Again, when you say X-Men to a big group of people, the imagery and stories from X-Men the animated series is what comes to their mind first. Especially now with X-Men 97 being so good and doubling down on this version of the X-Men. Moving along in 1993, we would get Animaniacs. This series was so good. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot are some of the best cartoon characters ever made, as well as Pinky and the Brain. Narf, or even Mindy. Okay, lady. Okay, I love you, bye-bye. How about Mr. Skullhead? Good idea. Bad idea. Then you even have the Good Pigeons. I could go on and on. The series was firing at a 10 at all times. People to this day will still sing Wacko's America song, which helped a lot of kids learn the states and capitals. So for all of the show's hijinks and slapstick comedy, it also had some educational value. The show had it all. Slapstick, zany humor, tons of parodies, and musical numbers. It was so well done and diverse, having something for everyone, with both kids and adults loving the series. I mean, they would parody movies like Edward Scissorhands or Jurassic Park, or even have cameos from beloved Warner Brother characters like Batman. The series was so loved in the 90s, it got a reboot on Hulu a few years ago. The reboot wasn't as good as the original, but it was still fun as it was nice to see Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, as well as Pinky and the Brain. My oldest daughter actually became obsessed with the original Animaniacs series in 2020. She watched the series all the way through like 3 different times that year. It was crazy. But jumping to the next series, we have Exo Squad. This was a short-lived series that only got 2 seasons, but a core memory from my childhood.
Biker Mouse from Mars. This ain't it. Eagle Squad? No.
I don't know this.
That man's lineman is atrocious, though.
No, I don't know this.
Yeah, I don't know
this. Nigga said from his childhood. I don't remember this.
Nonetheless. If you remember this series, it dealt with humanity expanding its reach to other planets in the 22nd century. In this future, Earth is part of a confederation with colonies on Venus and Mars. We also see that humans have created Neo-Sapiens, a race of genetically engineered beings who were made to be stronger to survive harsh work environments on Mars and Venus. But of course, the Neo-Sapiens are treated like second-class citizens, subjected to oppression by humans. This leads to the show dealing with mature themes like war, prejudice, and oppression. In a lot of ways, it is certainly one of the most serious in tone and darker children cartoons of the 90s, certainly ahead of its time. The vehicles were absolutely awesome. They were basically just small and giant mechs that they would pilot. Such a great show and toy line. Speaking of great 90s shows that also had amazing toy lines, we have Mighty Max. Mighty Max was an amazing cartoon series. It follows Mighty Max, a young boy named Max, who had a magical cap, the Cosmic Cap, that turns out to be an ancient artifact of immense power. The Cap could open portals anywhere in the world, and of course he gets thrown into a bunch of adventures fighting supernatural and sci-fi threats that want to destroy the world. But he's not alone. He teams up with a bird-like sage who is a member of an ancient civilization, and Norman, a huge Viking warrior that's vowed to protect Max at all costs. I love the horror supernatural element of the show. It's one of the reasons I liked it so much, but also the toys were incredible. Mighty Max toys were essentially the boy version of Polly Pocket. They were entire play sets and figures you could fit in your pocket or backpack and take anywhere. I have very vivid memories of going to Toys R Us and my parents letting me pick out a Mighty Max set. My favorite was the Skull Dungeon playset that was essentially Frankenstein's laboratory and came with Frankenstein. It was pretty great. Next, we have one I know a lot of you forgot about, but I certainly did not, and that is Tales from the Crypt Keeper, the animated series. Much like its live-action counterpart, this was a horror anthology comedy series, but aimed towards kids. I loved horror since I was a kid, so this was right up my alley, and there was nothing really else like this in animation form at the time. Every episode was a standalone horror story that dealt with kids facing off against curses, supernatural creatures, and anything scary. The stories usually ended with a cautionary or moral tale, and it was funny along the way, and the Crypt Keeper was amazing. Whenever someone brings up Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps, I'm like, yeah, those two series are phenomenal, but like Tales from the Crypt Keeper, the animated series as well. Jumping to 1994, we have the original Monsters Inc., and that is Real Monsters. I say the original Monsters Inc. because the plot of Real Monsters revolves around a group of 3 monster students. Incus, Oblina, and Crumb were training at a monster academy to become professional scarers. And get this, their whole goal is to frighten humans collecting their scares, but instead of powering their city, it's to contribute to their grades. If you never put 2 and 2 together, I'm blowing your mind right now. Real Monsters was the original Monsters Inc. Nonetheless, it was a fantastic series, one of my favorites Nickelodeon ever put out, and their headmaster, the Grumble, who wore heels and Joker-like lipstick, was a ticking time bomb. You never knew what he was gonna do. Marvel would also give us an animated series in 1994, and that, of course, is Fantastic Four, the animated series. As many of you know, I'm the comic book guy, so any animated show that was comic book related, I was all over as a kid, and I love me some Marvel's First Family, so this show was it for me. I mean, the fact that this show had Silver Surfer and Galactus alone made this a favorite, but then Doctor Doom was in this series, which obviously because he's the arch enemy of the Fantastic Four, but nonetheless, seeing Doctor Doom was epic. The series even had deep pulls like Frankie Ray Nova, Herald of Galactus. Next up, we have a lot of people's favorite animated series from the 90s, and that, of course, is Disney's Gargoyles. The series explored complex, dark storytelling with mature themes in a gothic atmosphere, making it stand out in the 90s, much like Batman the animated series. It's kind of crazy to me that the series hasn't been revised. I know that the story is being continued in comic form right now, which is great, but the fact that they haven't given it a continuation series is kind of shocking since Disney is all about that stuff and currently doing it very successfully with X-Men 97. Nonetheless, this is easily one of the highlights of the decade. I actually have a Goliath action figure on.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't remaster that shit or at least continue the story.
I think this X-Men 97 might have opened up the doors for a lot of this stuff.
It should
like
have.
Spider-Man, Gargoyles. Stuff that didn't really get a finish.
I thought we was getting a live action Gargoyles. What happened to that?
Supposed to be. That happened they said that a long time ago.
I know. I'm like, whatever happened to that?
You know how they go. They announced it and stuff. We were supposed to get a Blade.
Well, they kept flipping and losing directors and shit.
You're supposed to get Eternals too. They said nope. No, you won't.
Well, yeah, they asked that. They asked a lot of that shit though.
A lot of it.
On my desk. That's how much I love the series. The show for me is like the Marvel Universe meets Game of Thrones, and in a weird way meets Gotham City. It just took so many different elements of things kids and adults loved and gave us this amalgamation that became Gargoyles. Its sophisticated storytelling, character development, and iconic characters is what made this series a cult classic. I could spend a lot of time talking about Gargoyles, but there's still many shows to talk about, so let's move on. Next up, we have Iron Man, the animated series. Though not as good as X-Men, the animated series, or some of the other series from Marvel, it still holds a soft spot in my heart. Not only did we get to see our favorite armored Avenger in action, but we saw him team up with his buddy War Machine and fight characters like the Mandarin, MODOK, and Fin Fang Foom. Not to mention, he would team up with Julia Carpenter's Spider-Woman, Hawkeye, and even the freaking Scarlet Witch to help him combat Mandarin's magic. But let me tell you something. Marvel's next animated series from the 90s went on to become one of the most talked about animated series of all time, comic book fan or not, and that, of course, is Spider-Man, the animated series. This series is so damn good, it's not even funny. It aired on Fox Kids, and for me, is one of the best interpretations of Spider-Man to date, much like Batman, the animated series, and X-Men, the animated series. This is people's definitive version of Spider-Man. It was so good and loved by fans so much, there is talks of Disney bringing it back, much like they did with X-Men 97, giving us Spider-Man 98, the series, a sequel to the iconic 90s one. I say it all the time, but this series was just so goated. And it's what gave us the original Spider-Verse. During the season finale in the Spidey Wars arc, they introduced the idea of Spider-Man from across the Spider-Verse, like Armored Spider-Man, the Scarlet Spider, Doc Ock Spider-Man, and more. So this series gave us the Spider-Verse before the Miles Morales movies, and even before the comic books, the real OG. Much like Batman, the animated series, the influence of Spider-Man, the animated series, can be felt in the comics and even Spider-Man's live-action movie. Hell, the introduction of Dr. Octavius being a mentor to Peter initially was introduced in this series, something that Sam Raimi would go on to use, and even the popular Sony Spider-Man video games. I just hope that the rumors are true and that Disney is indeed going to make a Spider-Man 98 series, because if they nail it like they did X-Men 97, it would be one of the best animated comic book series of all time. But that brings us out of 1994 and into 1995.
MJ, nigga.
He went to go find her.
He found her because we seen it at
Limited Spider-Man.
No, I'm saying we seen it. We didn't ever see him actually.
We didn't see him get her.
Yeah, but we seen that.
Unlimited Spider-Man was supposed to be a continuation, and she was there at the beginning until he went to the next planet.
But then they also showed them together in X-Men 97.
Yeah.
They did. So give us what happened in that whole time period.
Spider-Man Unlimited just left him on that alien plane.
Right. Can we get how he found her or what happened? Like, can we get that? Yeah. Can we get that, please?
Where I'm only going to talk about one series from that year, but a great one, and that is Freakazoid. Freakazoid was an original superhero comedic series created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, the men behind Batman the Animated Series, which explains why the show was so good. Freakazoid was an average teenager who was introverted and kind of a computer geek, but one day a computer glitch gave him superpowers such as super strength, speed, and fourth wall breaking, turning him into Freakazoid. What's so good about Freakazoid is that he's basically a satire take on superheroes and pop culture in general. He uses slapstick humor and meta commentary to create an amazing character that has gotten a massive cult following. In a lot of ways, Freakazoid is like a more crazy version of Deadpool. It's kind of weird to me that we haven't gotten anything from him since the 90s. This was an extremely popular show, even though it was short-lived. It has a die-hard fan base. Me being part of it, all I know is this is one of the shows I was most excited to watch as a kid. I still love it to this day. He is a crazy, hilarious, fourth wall breaking, eccentric superhero with unpredictable abilities. He can do things that are absolutely absurd, and it's awesome. We even see him doing stuff like making fun of superhero tropes and going to conventions. But jumping to the next year, 1996, we have Superman the Animated Series. This series is loved, but I feel doesn't get talked about enough. It is easily one of the best comic book animated series of all time, a perfect counterpart to Batman the Animated Series. The two characters would even cross over, giving us the iconic World's Finest arc, where both Batman and Superman have to fight their arch enemies Joker and Lex Luthor together. It was great. I have a very vivid memory watching the premiere episode for Superman the Animated Series during the weekday at prime time. The show was part of the DC Animated Universe, aka the DCAU, having cameos of other DC characters like The Flash, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, Orion, Mr. Miracle, and more. The series was a gold mine for us fans of the DC Universe. Moving along, we have Beast Wars Transformers. Let me tell you something about Beast Wars. It's my personal favorite Transformers cartoon of all time. The story is utterly amazing. The characters are utterly amazing. Everything about this show is amazing, but also at the time the show was made, it was groundbreaking, giving us Pixar-style animation, which is commonplace now, but back then, it was not. So it was also kind of like an event watching this, as you felt like you were watching a show from the future. Me and my dad used to watch this show together all the time because I remember him loving the animation and story just like me. Plus, Optimus Primal is the GOAT, and T-Rex Megatron is where it's at. I mean, just think about that. A T-Rex that transforms into an evil robot. That's every little boy's dream. Continuing to to move along a little quicker to get through as many as possible, we have Dexter's Laboratory. Like many of the shows I mentioned, this is still one of my favorite TV shows to this day. It holds up phenomenally too. You have this little boy genius who has this crazy secret lab in his house, and somehow his parents aren't aware of it, but his ditzy sister is. So great. The show is very unique and hilarious. I feel it's one of the most iconic cartoons of all time. Dee Dee, get out of my laboratory. And the fact that he had an accent, but no one else in his family did, just made it that much better.
In the other video, he did have a fucking accent and nobody else did. Like, why do you have an accent?
Nobody got an accent. Not your dad, not your mom, not the other kid. You just born an accent.
Dee Dee, get out of my laboratory. They tell her to get out.
Didn't make any sense, but it made all the sense in the world. I have so many memories tied to all these series, and one of my memories with Dexter's Laboratory is watching it late at night in like marathons, because Cartoon Network would play a bunch of Dexter's Lab episodes back to back late at night for some reason, and I just remember sitting up watching them until I fell asleep. Moving along, we have the Incredible Hulk animated series. Much like the other comic book cartoons I mentioned, this was great for comic nerds because I got to see the character as I read in the comic books come to life in my living room, because not only did we get to see the Hulk smash with Thunderbolt Ross going after him, but also She-Hulk Jennifer Walters was a big part of the series, and I had a massive crush on her. I don't even care. You all know. If you watch the series, you know. But also, Dr. Doom was in the series, the Leader, Abomination, and so many other great Marvel characters. Now, here's a deep cut. Mortal Kombat, Defenders of the Realm. I've said it numerous times, MK is my favorite fighting game of all time. I'm a huge MK fan, and I absolutely love the live action movies from the 90s. Yes, Annihilation is horrible, but I still love it. So when the Mortal Kombat craze was getting nuts in the 90s, we got Mortal Kombat, the animated series, aka Defenders of the Realm, which aired on the USA Network, at least in South Florida. And I was obsessed, especially when Scorpion was in an episode. Scorpion is my dude. The design of his face mask in the show was great. It was very reminiscent of a skull, and it looked just badass. I actually need to see where I could stream this series because I gotta rewatch it. In 1997, we would get Disney's Recess, which just dealt with kids in elementary school, specifically what they would do during recess. It's one of those series that was kind of just relatable, being a 10 or 12-year-old kid, seeing other 10 or 12-year-old kids doing things at recess you wish you could do. Super simple concept, but great characters, fun stories, one of my all-time favorites. Now, of course, I also have to mention a ladies' man who's not so much a ladies' man, and that is Johnny freaking Bravo. The fact that he's like this kind of ditzy muscle man who's always trying to impress ladies, but it always backfires due to his ego and poor judgment, made for a hilarious cartoon series. This series is like so many other greats in the 90s, proof that you just need a cool concept for a character, and then the show just writes itself. Johnny Bravo certainly became a cartoon icon in the 90s, and it's not hard to see why. 1997 would also give us the new Batman Adventures, but it was just a continuation of Batman the Animated Series, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. Just know it's goated because, again, it's more Batman the Animated Series. However, I do want to add that the redesigns for the new Batman Adventures were phenomenal. I loved what Bruce Timm did to the new Batsuit, giving us the black and gray detective suit, and even the redesigns for his villains and everyone else. He also got a new Batmobile.
Everybody else looked
But moving along, 1998 gave us Powerpuff Girls, who are still amazing and loved. So much so, they got an updated series like a few years ago. They are a trio of superheroes created by the Professor, who creates perfect little girls by mixing sugar and spice and everything nice. However, when Chemical X is mixed into it, we get the Powerpuff Girls. Of course, we got Blossom, the leader, Bubbles, the sweet-natured
why did you? I mean, you was a scientist, but why did you have that?
Chemical X.
And whole time, Mojo Jojo, they speculating was his first experiment.
I think it said in the first movie. Remember they had a movie?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. I don't remember watching it, but I remember they had a movie, and I think it was in theaters. If I'm not, I might have been straight to tape, but I thought
Mojo Jojo, y'all beating y'all, basically beat y'all brother. They used to be whooping his ass, bro.
He broke in jail and whooped him. That was the funniest one. He in jail. I'm like,
the rowdy rough boys.
The rowdy rough boys. That princess that was spoiled. That weird transgender demon they was fighting. I don't want to fight them episodes. I ain't like that.
One, and Buttercup, the tough tomboy of the group. Being a fan of superheroes, I was completely sold on the show from the jump, but with the mix of humor, action, and heart, it made for one of the best series ever. Not only were the Powerpuff Girls awesome, so were their villains. Dude, Mojo Jojo, the arch nemesis, a highly intelligent chimpanzee who is always plotting and scheming. It's great. The gang Green Gang, a group of delinquent teens with green skin who cause all sorts of crime in Townsville. Or how about the hillbilly character with super strength, Fuzzy freaking Lumpkins. But easily, the most memorable villain for the Powerpuff Girls is him. The devil-like villain with crab hands, black heel boots, and an eerie voice. He always creeped me out as a kid and still kind of does. Like, what the hell, man? You know the creators were like, oh, we're gonna creep some kids out with this and it's gonna be amazing. But this, friends, brings us to the last year of the 90s, which gave us one of the most beloved cartoons of all time, still to this day going strong, and that is mother freaking SpongeBob SquarePants. Do I really need to elaborate on SpongeBob SquarePants? We all know how amazing SpongeBob SquarePants is. SpongeBob has borderline reached Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse fame. SpongeBob is amazing. Everything about it. Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, Gary, Zonk.
Yeah, but SpongeBob used to be my shit growing up in the night when it first came out, nigga.
Hey, nigga, saw the episodes in. No more.
But SpongeBob was my shit growing up.
Ruined this SpongeBob experience.
I watched SpongeBob religiously growing up.
You did. One episode changed.
One episode definitely changed.
The funniest cartoons ever created. I'm gonna leave it at that. But the last animated series from the 90s we're gonna talk about is Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond is one of the greatest things to happen to the Batman mythos. It's such a great concept and probably the best handing off of a torch I've seen for a superhero. The storytelling, of course, was top-notch, much like Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series. Not to mention, they knocked the design for the bat suit out of the park. The all-black bat suit with the bright red bat and retractable red glider wings, phenomenal. There's also a good chunk of you, I'm sure, that like Batman Beyond more than Batman the Animated Series, and I can't even argue that. I totally get it. For me, it's still Batman the Animated Series, but this is super close. With all that said, let's do some honorable mentions, shall we? Because there's a ton of great series that deserve it, such as Tailspin, The Adventures of Tintin, The Addams Family Animated Series, Goof Troop. Oh my God, I love Goof Troop. Rocko's Modern Life, Bump in the Night, Creepy Crawlers, Life with Louie, The Magic School Bus, Ace Ventura the Animated Series, The Mask Animated Series, Action League Now, that show was goated, Mighty Ducks the Animated Series, Extreme Ghostbusters, Men in Black the Animated Series, Todd McFarlane's Spawn, which I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid, but I did as a teenager, The Wild Thornberrys, Rocket Power, and Spider-Man Unlimited.
Y'all didn't bring up Mummies Alive?
That was a crap time. But in any case, this is just our list. We want to know what yours is, so let us know down in the comment section. Also, would you like us to do a similar list for the early 2000s? Let us know, because that's where Justice League Unlimited, Avatar, Kim Possible, Static Shock, and a bunch more come in. Other than that, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.
The penguin back there.
His hand.
Danny DeVito's penguin at that.
He was creepy.
Hell yeah.
I was like, ugh.
Excuse me. That was a good. This came out last year, but this was good. It was good.
This was hard.
I first with majority of them, other than the early '90s ones they showed. Some of them I didn't know. I was born in '91, so anything after that.
Biker Mice from Mars or Street Sharks.
We didn't.
Neither of them was there. Street Sharks, that is.
Street Sharks was that shit, bro.
They bad, they Street Sharks. Street Sharks.
I had the toys and shit.
I had the Killer Whale one.
I had a couple of them.
A black dude became a killer whale. I was like, oh, I was like, he sure did.
Go ahead and hit the outro.
Y'all down to a monster, then we came check on him. He was like, he this way. he this way. Just watch y'all. Nigga said, oh, more test subjects. I got excited. But anyway. Oh, sorry. Because that's wild. That
is wild as hell.
He showed him there. He's like, this way, please. This nigga's a monster. Anyway, this is Tree. I'm Green. This is MB Reacts, and we post 2 to 3 times every day, sometimes even 4. You can check us out right here at 12 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Time. You can always come back and check out the playlist with over 2K videos. I promise you'll find a playlist you'll like and enjoy. And if you don't, you're lying to yourself. But anyway, man, stay blessed. Don't do nothing crazy. And there ain't nothing wrong with a little nostalgia. Go back and watch some of your favorite shows. Anyway, this is Tree. I'm Green. This is MB Rex. And we'll holler at y'all later. Peace.